leading the ESG Charge, the CFO's role as change agent.
Regulatory standpoint, as well as setting the right targets, creating measurement structures, measurement capabilities.
Companies that lead in ESG often achieve enhanced brand value, greater customer loyalty, and improved access to capital.
Hello and welcome to Beyond Numbers, Transformation in Finance and Accounting Thought Leadership Series. My name's Simon Brooke. I'm a journalist and I've spent over 15 years writing for publications such as The Times, The Financial Times and The Daily Telegraph. Today, I'm delighted to be exploring the rapidly evolving world of finance and accounting, focusing particularly on the topic leading the ESG charge, the CFO's role as change agent. Joining me in this conversation are two distinguished experts. From WNS Global Services, we have Krishnan Raghunathan,
Chief Business Transformation Officer at WNS.
Krishnan works closely with CFOs worldwide, helping them to navigate the complexities of finance transformation and ESG integration. And we're also joined by Anu Chaudhary, Global Head of ESG Consulting at Uniqus Consultech. Anu brings deep expertise in helping organizations design and implement impactful ESG strategies, enabling them to meet evolving sustainability goals and compliance requirements. Welcome to you both.
Thank you, Simon. It's a pleasure to be here.
Likewise, Simon, great to be here. Thank you.
Krishnan, let's start with you. We're seeing a surge in ESG-related expectations from investors, regulators, and customers alike. I'm wondering what's driving this growing focus on ESG, and how do you see it shaping the future for CFOs and their organizations?
Certainly, Simon. I mean, when you look at the question itself, there are the core drivers right there. First one, the most important one, if I start with, the increased investor scrutiny. I think so. The investors are becoming much more responsible, and therefore they are, spending time and scrutinizing in terms of assets they're investing into. What is the kind of ESG commitment those assets have? Even from a future valuation perspective, investors are very sensitive towards it. So that drives a certain behavior in terms of getting access to capital itself. And from that standpoint, the second, obviously, is the regulatory shift. As we all know, depending upon different countries, stock exchanges, the metrics around ESG are becoming mandatory to report, and the expectation from the companies to drive a certain behavior and drive a certain target is becoming increasingly more and more relevant. And finally, the end consumer preference itself is shifting. Consumers are becoming a lot more conscious to who they buy from and how sound are their sustainable practices. And therefore, when I put these three factors together, right from customers who are buying, who are responsible for the revenue of your business, to regulatory mandates, to investors who provide the capital, all of those three aspects drive the core need for CFOs to focus on that. So from a CFO standpoint, they're not just the financial stewards, driving the financial discipline. They are increasingly also responsible on the strategic aspects of ensuring the ESG aspects in the organization, from regulatory standpoint, as well as setting the right targets, creating measurement structures, measurement capabilities, and driving the organization towards those needs.
Anu, let's build on that. There are certainly challenges in operationalizing ESG, but also enormous opportunities. What do you see as the key risks that companies have to navigate, and how can they capitalize on ESG for growth?
Right, Simon. So organizations face several risks as they mature their ESG agenda. Now, these could include regulatory risks due to non-compliance, reputational damage from greenwashing or misreporting of data, supply chain vulnerabilities related to human rights issues, and financial implications of climate risk. On the flip side, however, there are considerable rewards as well. So, companies that lead in ESG often achieve enhanced brand value, greater customer loyalty, and improved access to capital. Investors are also more inclined now to fund sustainable enterprises, as Krishnan mentioned. The key is to align ESG initiatives with business strategy, and by setting realistic targets, integrating robust data analytics, and continuously benchmarking performance, CFOs can identify where ESG efforts drive efficiency and where can they open new revenue streams, new opportunities. So, for example, improved energy management can lower operational costs, and robust social practices can attract top talent. Ultimately, embracing ESG positions companies for sustainable growth and innovation.
Thank you, Anu. Krishnan, let's move on to the practical realm. What are the sort of immediate priorities that CFOs should focus on to advance their ESG agendas? And I'm wondering, how can they build a finance function that really is ESG ready?
Thanks, Simon. And learning from the experts, I think one of the most immediate priorities that CFOs are looking at is what are the right targets to follow, and that involves what kind of rating systems we are establishing, and what are the right standards and targets that they need to align themselves. And then comes the second most important aspect, is getting the organization ready to measure and report around those standards. So the data structures, data capture, and then bringing in the ability to report at the required intervals to measure against those standards and report. So those are absolute must and immediate. Then training the extended organization on the sustainability targets, why we are doing it, why it is important, what is expected of them, and helping them understand the right behavior, at the same time helping them understand what is needed of them to drive the right metrics and right behavior. And then eventually creating a governance around this whole structure, as employees understand targets are set, and at the same time we are having the measurement metrics, creating a governance towards achieving the targets, moving in the right direction, and continue to report and celebrate the successes as we move closer to our targets.
Anu, coming back to you, obviously compliance and transparency are at the heart of ESG credibility. So how can organizations ensure that they remain aligned with these evolving global standards? And I'm wondering as well, what about sustainability reporting? How do you craft reports that really do resonate with stakeholders?
Very pertinent question, Simon. Thank you. So, staying aligned with global standards requires a very proactive approach on behalf of the companies. They need to monitor the regulatory changes, and the regulatory environment, in fact, is so dynamic. There are, regulations which are implemented, and companies are expected to comply overnight. So what these companies need to do is work with expert partners who can provide guidance on frameworks on what's coming. There are some global standards which are pretty much universal and well aligned. So, if we talk about ISSB, IFRS S1 and S2, TCFD, SASB, GRI, now these are global standards or foundational standards, I would say, when it comes to sustainability reporting and any kind of disclosures related to ESG and climate change. So, the first thing that they must focus on is clarity and consistency. That's paramount. You need to ensure that your sustainability report is in line with your annual report or any other disclosures that you may be making publicly. So consistency, and then clarity on what you would like to achieve. You cannot have one target today and another target next year. You have to show a continual improvement. CFOs and their teams should focus on materiality. So you need to identify the ESG issues which are most relevant for the company, for your own business, and how would that contribute towards your business model and towards your stakeholders as well. Now, using a blend of quantitative data and qualitative storytelling can make these reports more engaging, more interesting. showcasing year over year progress around your KPIs, your material topics, setting clear future targets, and explaining the strategic rationale behind certain ESG initiatives that helps build trust. The goal is to provide stakeholders, be it your investors, employees, or customers, with a transparent narrative on how your ESG efforts translate into meaningful outcomes, rather than telling a fairy tale or a story, in your sustainability report.
Anu, thank you. Krishnan, once these ESG initiatives are in place, how should CFOs effectively communicate progress and value to their employees and also their shareholders?
Great question, Simon. And like every other leader, it's extremely important for CFOs to take the narrative and commitment to both internal and external stakeholders. And on that part, as far as internal stakeholders or employees are concerned, I would say that typical internal communication channels like newsletters or emails and town halls, and each one of those are rewarding employees for the right behavior, are all in play, and we must do. ESG newsletter, I definitely feel should be part of the journey, because that not only provides regular updates to everybody in the organization of the progress that is being made, it continues to remind them of the commitment towards sustainability. There are some other touch points typically the CFOs have, that is through the budgeting cycles or financial reviews, and in each of those reminding the organization's commitment towards sustainability and capital allocation priorities towards driving more sustainable behavior and more sustainable revenue will all play a role. Coming on to external stakeholders, including shareholders, investor analysts, and other players, again, using digital channels that typically are used to communicate the financial results and other commitments of the company are equally in play again. When you are providing financial results or 20F and other such dashboards of performance to the external world, adding ESG dashboards onto that, including commitments that the company has already made towards such goals, and providing a report on all the actions that are being put in place and how's the progress around them. I think so all of those are important aspects of taking that narrative to the larger group, sharing the commitment and making sure everybody is part of that commitment as part of the larger enterprise.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, both. Look, just before we wrap up, I'd love to hear more about the partnership between WNS and Uniqus Consultech. I was wondering how this collaboration supports CFOs and organizations in their ESG journeys. Krishnan, can you go first?
Certainly. I think so between WNS and Uniqus, we provide an integrated ecosystem to the CFOs for both their sustainability goals and efforts, and at the same time on the technical accounting side, we provide a lot of capabilities. At WNS, we work very closely with more than 100 CFOs and more than 450 clients in the finance and accounting space, and through that, we have very deep understanding of the organization, their systems. We have operational capability to create execution imperatives. And with Uniqus Consultech, we bring in significant capabilities around both technical accounting as well as ESG in terms of helping companies choose the right standards, helping companies, create the right strategy, the right targets, the roadmaps. And together, when we combine our capabilities, our ability to help them drive the organization towards the target goals is extremely high. And that's what makes this partnership unique and extremely successful in helping our end clients achieve their targets.
Krishnan, thank you very much. Anu, over to you.
So completely agree with what Krishnan said. The synergy lies in our complementary strengths. We guide companies through the ESG landscape, from initial strategy and compliance alignment to KPI setting and then implementation in terms of long-term value creation. With WNS's global delivery and process excellence and Uniqus domain-specific ESG expertise, organizations can develop resilient finance functions equipped to meet today's regulatory demand and anticipate tomorrow's opportunities as well. Ultimately, our partnership gives CFOs the confidence to lead the ESG charge as true change agents.
Okay, thank you, Krishnan and Anu, for these really invaluable insights. It's clear that ESG is no longer a side note. It's central now to how businesses operate, innovate, and grow. CFOs stand at the forefront of this transformation, and partnerships like the one between WNS and Uniqus can provide the support they need to thrive in this new landscape. I appreciate both of you for taking the time to share your expertise, and to our audience, thank you for joining us in this edition of the Beyond Numbers Thought Leadership Series. We look forward to exploring more dimensions of finance and accounting transformation in future sessions. Until next time, take care and stay engaged.